All right, way too early. Look into free agency. Kind of disclaimer. Some of these guys could be franchise tagged or even return back to their team. Let's talk about it. We back. Motor City Sports Talk. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, bell icon button, share the video. And there could be some guys actually added to the list. We always know veterans get cut when they become too pricey. But one thing I noticed kind of looking at a way too early NFL free agent list is that there is a lot of defensive talent on there, but there is a lack of youth at the offensive line position. The only offensive lineman that looks pretty, that can probably be here a few years and do a good job is the left tackle from the Indianapolis Colts, Anthony Colazzo. Hopefully I said his name right. He been solid over there. Not sure if they would tag him, what type of year he had last year, but I think he would be an upgrade over Taylor Decker. And he could play some right side as well. I may be prone to remember coming out the draft, I think he was better probably as a right tackle. So if I can get him as a right tackle, I would like to get a veteran right tackle and then a stud at left tackle. And then wherever I can fill in the guard situation that I will fill him in. But they definitely get rid of Glasgow. They definitely need two veteran or one vet at a guard and a young guard. And hopefully the guy from Wisconsin can really step up and fight for a job in the next couple seasons with one of the vets. But offensive line is a huge priority. But the way it's looking in free agency, there's a lot of age at the tackle. You got Whitworth. He old as dirt. You got Jason Peters, who may end up retiring. And you got some guards. Kelvin Beachum, he really not a good left tackle. He more probably like a right tackle. So it's looking like they're going to have to do some offensive line work, the left tackle at least, in the draft. But I see a lot of defensive talent, definitely to be a stop plug up front. I mean, you got Ndamukong Suh, you got Michael Brockers, you got potentially Everson Griffin, you got Marcel Darius, who really ain't lived up to expectations, which I would give him a 1-year contract and see if he can be motivated. So if Snacks leave, there's a lot of help that go next to Deshaun Hand. And it's a lot of help on the edge. With Clowney, he's a guy who stood up, who dropped a little bit in Houston. Predominantly, he's been putting his hand in the dirt with Seattle. I think his price went down this year with Seattle. But he's still a good player. You know, if you get him at a good price, I would think about it. He's been fairly healthy over there. Obviously, you got y'all boy Ezekiel Ansah. Still out there. I think he just physically done. He may be older than what he was said to be coming over to America. And in the secondary, I mean, you got Chris Harris Jr. is a guy that was rumored the Lions wanted to swap, but the Broncos didn't want to give him a little bit more due to Darius Slay is a little bit younger, and Darius Slay had 1 more year on the contract. You got Patriot, Devin McCourty, who can help. You got Bradley Roby, who I loved last year in free agency, and he's a great fit for what the Lions do. He had a little health issues this year, but he's an excellent man-to-man corner. Go watch the game in New England. He did great work, and I think they may want to bring him back. But definitely, Ndamukong Suh hit it on Instagram the other day. I forgot to do the video. He may want to come back to Detroit. He got a lot of property here. He do some business here. So I wouldn't be mad at bringing Ndamukong Suh back. But then again, even in any of these veteran defensive tackles that's out there, I would want, even like a Michael Brockers or something like that, I would want to get a young guy to develop behind them. You need depth. You need really 2 starting lines in this league, and Lions always used to keep 2 good defensive lines, starters and rotate some backups in, and that's how we really wore people down under Jim Schwartz. So I'm all for bringing a Suh in, a Brockers in, a guy like that with Deshaun Hand, but I'm also in the school of thought is that I want to get somebody younger behind them in the draft to develop, but I'm done with Ashawn Robinson, man, and Mike Dames is a free agent again. I'm done with him. I want to get younger. I take a vet like Ndamukong Suh, but you still need a plugger there in the run game, and you probably need somebody in the 3 technique that can back up Deshaun Hand. So I'm kind of looking at that. Everson Griffin, he had some mental problems with Minnesota last year, and I'm not sure if he's 100% over them, but he's been performing pretty well last year. And with Danielle Hunter and them just paying him, rising to be the Minnesota Vikings and rising to be one of the best pass rushers in the league that nobody talks about, they may let Everson Griffin go and look for a cheaper way. So, if you could put Everson Griffin down there with Trey Flowers, you could put Jadeveon down there with Trey Flowers. I mean, that's good, but you always got to keep a second wave of defensive linemen So, like I said, it's a lot of good depth at defensive line. Marcel Darius, Jadeveon Clowney. Darius only played 1 or 6 games last year, so I don't know what was up that. But Jadeveon Clowney is down there. Everson Griffin, Michael Brockers. It's a variety of guys that's in there that can help the Lions where they can get by, getting a couple of them in free agency and put some young developmental guys behind them in the draft, or some of the guys they already got, like the guy from Clemson and the defensive tackle they got from Arizona. I don't know if he's still on the roster. They can develop some young guys behind them. But it's a lot of talent in the front. There's some linebackers out there as well, too. Nigel Bradham from Philly, he can run a little bit. So they really need probably another outside linebacker, too. And Tavai can grow into a good middle linebacker, maybe a linebacker there, and they got some depth guys there. So look for a pass rusher, defensive tackle, linebacker, but also in the secondary there is some help. I love Bradley Roby, still young. He's from Ohio State. They claim to be DBU University, and so does DB University down there at LSU, who got a national championship game coming up Monday. The reason that got pushed back because of venue reasons. Usually it would have been sooner than that. I was wondering why the wait has been long. So if you want to hear my opinion on that, check my other channel out, Goodfellas Sports TV, and just put LSU in the search engine, and that video should come up. But yeah, Chris Harris, he older, but he can play man-to-man defense. He can follow into the slot. He may not be as expensive as Darius Slay, but his clock is ticking. Bradley Roby, I loved him last year when he was in free agency, when Texas got him. That'd be a good look for the Lions. Him and Amani Araqui and Rashad Melvin and Justin Coleman. You got a good mix right there. And Devin McCourty, you missing the safety back there. Walker and Devin McCourty. At this point in the league, I think both of them can play in the box. They can play either side, strong or free. So now in today's leagues, you really have to do both. You just can't be a box safety. You got to cover the deep half or rob in the middle, or you ask to cover in the slot some of the time. So if the Patriots don't want to pay McCourty, and that's a Patriot I'd be interested in, I think he brings a veteran. He fills a veteran void that we don't have in the safety when Quadre left, and he pretty much an all-pro performer, in my opinion, even if he ain't. So it's a lot of defensive talent out there. It's going to be more than this. It may be less than this. Some of these guys might sign franchise tags. Some of these guys may go elsewhere. But the Lions, got a lot of options on the defensive side of the field, but not so many options on the offensive line. So offensive line is going to be, probably a vocal point in the draft as well. But it's a lot of defensive talent out there, man. And if they trade Darius Slay and they get some multiple picks, they got picks to play with. So, a quick turnaround is never out the question. But I hope they do it the right way. I hope they have a nice balance of seasoned vets that still can perform and still nourish and give some talent to the young guys. And hopefully they can put a team around Matthew Stafford so we can stop hearing about him being overrated and he can get a playoff win and make a Super Bowl run, because at this point, all the blood, sweat, and tears in his body he giving up for this organization, I believe they done it. But if the guys that I'm interested in is Clowney, Sue, Roby, McCourty, I'm interested in guys like that. Collazo, the left tackle from Indianapolis Colts, I'm interested in those guys. To be honest, I would like to see if I can't get a veteran, a young left tackle that I believe in the draft, I can put Collazo on the left side, and a young guy I can go on the right side till he catch up to speed. And then when he's ready to come up to speed, probably in a year, maybe 8 games at the earliest, I can flip him, and you got 2 good tackles for a long time to go, and I can find those guards to fill in, and they can build that cohesiveness, and Stafford get the ball out of his hand fast until they build that camaraderie. Then you might have a good offensive line for years to come. But no matter how we think, the Lions think pretty much the opposite. They have it in their mind that they want a certain type of player. Usually that player comes from New England or wherever, or basically even touch foot in New England. That's what they want, coaches, players like that. But McCourty fit the bill. Well, you talking about schematically, Clowney can put his hand in the dirt. He can stand up. He can play that canard role, but his price might be pricey, and I'm not willing to put that on him. But Bradley Roby is a nice guy that you get for cheap. He can be man-to-man, and he does what he's a really good man-to-man corner, and that's what the Lions want to do. But hey, let me know what you guys think. Way too early free agency talk. Motor City Sports Talk. Don't forget the name. Don't forget to check my other channel out, Goodfellas Sports TV, for more sports, music, news, and entertainment. That is Goodfellas Sports TV. We on all social media. Links in the description. Want to make a donation? The information in the description. One time for the one time. Motor City Sports Talk. We are gone.